Hey Braxters! So this video is going to be like really weird. It's basically just going to be like really weird to film. First off, I'm going to have to say the word penis, which is just awkward. Like, I don't know why. So sorry if that offends you. This is definitely like a PG channel. I don't post like bad videos, but unfortunately, to explain this story, I have to say the word penis. So the other day, me and Braxton, my cousin Rebecca, and her baby Colston went to a kind of like, I guess you would call it craft fair, and we actually went to two in one day. The first one we went to was indoor, and Braxton pretty much stayed in his stroller the majority of the time. I think I carried him maybe like the last 5 minutes, and that was it. Well, while we were at that craft fair, we decided to go to the second craft fair, which was actually outside. Before we left the first one, I checked Braxton's diaper. By check, I mean like I kind of like just looked in it to see if he had peed, because I was going to change his diaper before I put him in his car seat. And I didn't see like anything out of the ordinary. His diaper was dry, so I was just like, okay, let's go. So we get to the second craft fair, and at this point, he was in his stroller for maybe like 15 minutes, and then his stroller would not go on the rocks. So I actually carried him, and he walked. I just kind of went back and forth carrying him, and he walked for a while. And everything was fine. Like, he was acting perfectly fine. We were having a great day. And all of a sudden, I just noticed that he started like tugging at his area. And I was like, okay, that's weird. So I kind of just felt his diaper to see if it was mushy, to see if he had peed. And it was still dry. So I was like, okay, well, maybe, it's hot outside. Maybe he's sweaty and he's itching. So I was like, okay, Rebecca, let's just walk to the end and see if we find like a bathroom or anything. And, I can just change his diaper and wipe him. So we're walking, no big deal. And he just keeps grabbing at himself. And I'm like, that is so weird. So I pick him up and I'm holding him. And when I'm holding him, on my hip, and he starts grabbing himself like he's so uncomfortable. So my first thought is, oh no, like maybe he's getting like a bladder infection. He hasn't peed all day, so, maybe he's getting an infection. So that's where my thoughts were at this point. So I put him back down because he was, uncomfortable with me carrying him. And so keep in mind, we're still trying to walk to the end of the craft fair because we want to change Braxton's diaper. And I just wanted to see what was going on. So I sit him down, and the further that we walk, the more uncomfortable that he's acting. To the point that instead of just grabbing it and going, making like a little grunt noise, he starts grabbing it and he's pretty much screaming bloody murder. And it went from like 0 to 100 so fast. It went from like just an uncomfortable, feeling to like, oh my gosh, something is wrong. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I cannot make it to the bathroom, the porta potty, whatever. Like, I've got to figure out what's going on right now. So I sit down and I pull his pants down and I pull his diaper off to figure out what's going on. And I'm gonna get emotional again because it was just so... You guys know I don't hide when I cry on my channel. You guys have seen me cry. It's nothing to be ashamed of, but ever since I've had Braxton, when it comes to like Braxton, I'm just really emotional. So if I cry in this video, I apologize. This is why I tried to wait a couple of days to film it, because I didn't want to boohoo the whole time. But anyways, back to the story. When I pulled his diaper down, I looked at his penis, and there was a hair, and I assumed that it was one of my hairs because my hair is the longest out of everybody that lives in my house, and you guys know my hair is like extremely long, like it's long. So the hair was wrapped around, like if this was his penis, the hair was wrapped around multiple times. But the problem was, it was so tight that the tip of his penis was so swollen that it had swelled up almost completely over the hair. Like, both parts were so swollen that it was over the hair and you couldn't see to get the hair off. So immediately I'm like frantic. I'm like, oh my gosh, Rebecca, what am I gonna do? So I'm like trying to calm him down, and I'm sitting there and I'm trying to remain calm, but I don't know what to do. So I'm like, okay, no big deal. Like, I should just be able to pull the hair off. No, it did not work like that, you guys. I could not pull it off because when I tugged on it, it like made the hair tighter and it hurt Braxton even worse. So after like 5 minutes, we're like in the middle of this festival. My child has his pants down with all his pride and glory showing to the whole world. There's a billion people like everywhere. Rebecca has her newborn in a stroller trying to help me while making sure nobody takes her child. And I'm down on the ground trying not to cry because I think my child's pecker is gonna fall off. It was the worst thing ever. And Braxton was screaming like I've never heard him. Like, he's gotten shots before, he's gotten sick before, he's fell, all that kind of stuff, but he's never screamed how he was screaming. Whew. Let me get it back. He's never screamed like that frantic pain scream before. So the longer that this was taking, the more scared that I was getting, because when you tug the string the wrong way, like I said, it tightened it. It was hurting him even worse. So at this point, Rebecca's trying to get it off. She can't get it off. I've tried. I can't get it off. And I don't know what to do. So I start looking around. Like, I was looking to see, like, is there like a nurse's station? Like, is there anybody around that can help? Like, what do I do? Or we're going to have to take him to the hospital. I was trying to figure out what my next step was going to be, because obviously we were not going to be able to get it off. And like I said, Braxton was so scared, and I know it hurt so bad. So as I was looking around, I looked to my left, and there was two mothers, and they were actually leaving. I guess they were walking to their car. And she was like, what's going on? And at this point, I couldn't talk because I was barely holding it together. And Rebecca told the lady, he has a hair wrapped around his penis. We can't get it off, and it's cutting off the circulation. We don't know what to do. So the lady, I wish I would have got her name and her phone number, because she was so sweet. She leaned down and she was like, do you mind if I help? She's like, I don't have a little boy, but you know, I'll be more than happy to help. And I'm like, yes, please, like, please help me get it off. I cannot get it off. Like, I was just so thankful that somebody else was going to try to get it off, because something about pulling at it was terrifying me, because I didn't want to make it worse. And then hearing Braxton scream was like getting my emotions even worse and even worse. So finally, she's like, can you lay him in your lap? Finally, I had to lay Braxton down on his back in my lap. And Rebecca had to kind of like hold his hands together, because he kept on trying to cover it up because it was hurting. So Rebecca had to kind of like hold his hands, and I was just trying to like pat his stomach and kiss him and talk to him and calm him down. The whole time he's frantic, like just frantic. And so at this point, that he's in my lap, and you know, this has been going on now for like, I guess like, I don't even know, I say 10 minutes, but it seems like 3 hours. At this point, I'm crying. I'm a mess. I can't hold it together. So the lady gets a little bit of it off, and then after she gets a little bit of it off, there's still more. I'm like, what is going on? The hair was so long that some of it had gotten stuck in between his butt cheek, and thank God that it did, because that way we could see one end of the string. And so I got the end of the string and I pulled the rest off, and then the lady gave me like a cold wet wipe, and I kind of just dabbed it on there because I wanted to make sure that we got everything off. And for some reason, after we got it off, it like, I cried so much more than I did when it happened, because I was like so relieved, if that makes sense. Like, I was so relieved, I just started bawling because I was just so happy that this was over with, and like Braxton was okay. But you guys, it was the saddest thing, because you know, Braxton, when he stood up, he just stood there, and I didn't immediately put his diaper back on because I wanted to make sure like the blood circulation was gonna like get back to normal, and like his penis was gonna be okay, because obviously if it wasn't, I was gonna take him to the hospital or the doctor. Thank goodness, like, he stood there and you could tell like it was just like getting back to normal, if as normal as a penis gets back. But it was so sad, because when he was standing there, he was just going, ow, 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 and I just, so anyways, after that happened, We put him a diaper on, put his pants back on, and we went straight to the ice cream little booth. I got him some ice cream, and he was fine. But even now, like I said, it's a couple days later, he's still, like, when you change his diaper, you can tell he's really timid about it. Like, he doesn't really want to get his diaper changed, if that makes sense. Like, it still makes him nervous. That night, and I did it for a couple nights, I put him in the Epsom salt bath because literally the hair was so tight on his penis that it rubbed him raw. So he had little cuts going around his penis, and it was so sad. But thankfully, it is all healed up. It is perfectly normal. Like, there was no damage. I'm still gonna have grandkids one day. But thank God for that woman who stopped and helped, because if she didn't, I honestly don't know what I would have done. And I wish that I could be filming this video and tell you guys that I was super mom and I kept it all together, that I didn't cry, that I handled it, and blah, blah, blah. No, your girl did not handle it. Your girl did not keep it together. Your girl was a mess. But it's okay. It's over with. It's done with. But I honestly wanted to film this video because I know that there are a lot of other moms that watch my channel. And if you're a mom of a boy, please, 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 double make sure when you are changing your little boy's diaper that you do not see a hair, because it is the most horrific thing that can happen ever. But anyways, that's my story for today. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have not already subscribed, please subscribe, make sure and hit the thumbs up button, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, Braxters!